a year if there were more routes to developing economies. But expansion doesn't have to be at Heathrow. Some, including the London Mayor, have called for a new airport on the Thames estuary east of London. It'll be a big strategic decision for the government.
Heathrow wasn't the best place geographically to have built the hub airport in London in the first place. So the question is whether anyone is going to have the courage of their convictions to step back, look at the big picture and say, do we need to look at a new site, a bigger site to the east of London, to the west of London, to the north of London, with good transport links in?
Labour backed to Heathrow third runway when in government, but now it's opposed to the idea because of the environmental implications. Green campaigners say it would have a devastating impact. The debate is set for liftoff. Hugh Pym, BBC News.
Well, let's return now to Nick Robinson, who's live at Downing Street. Nick, those changes of transport are just one of those announced today. As you look at the new lineup of the Cabinet as a whole, how much of a difference do you think it will make?
Well, what government hopes it will do is capture the Olympic spirit, the Paralympic spirit that is captured on that bunting just back there. That's why they're so pleased to get Mr. Olympic delivery as a junior minister at the Treasury. But let's be honest, one junior minister in the Lords is not going to make a whole lot of difference. What is a rather ruthless series of moves. A Transport Secretary who stood in the way of airport expansion shifted out of the way. An Environment Secretary moved and replaced by someone, Owen Paterson, who is frankly pretty sceptical about what many people regard as environmental policies. He's no green, he's an opponent of expensive wind power. That's pleased those who are sceptical about climate change. And two new Tory tough guys to surround the Business Secretary's junior ministers to Vince Cable to make sure he doesn't do things that the Chancellor doesn't like. There's another move that George Osborne and David Cameron wanted to make, moving Ian Duncan Smith, who sounds good to them on welfare, but they're worried he's not in control of his budget. He refused, offered the job last night and refused it this morning. So what do we have? A government that hasn't changed its economic policy at all, but hopes to have men and women in place who are more likely to deliver it. One thing they're also sure to deliver, though, is sharper arguments and more rows, not just with Boris Johnson over airports, but more and more rows within this coalition with the Liberal Democrats, who I suspect the more they look at this reshuffle, the less they're going to like it.
Thank you, Nick Robinson, live at Downing Street. And you can find full details of today's Cabinet reshuffle online at bbc.co.uk/news. A senior police officer in Northern Ireland has said that politicians should stop posturing and sort out the parading dispute which sparked 2 nights of rioting in North Belfast. Assistant Chief Constable Will Kerr said he feared someone would be killed unless the violence